And we're ready.
Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate. This time we're doing Cath Palug, which for you Fate fans will be a fairly unorthodox one that I'm wondering, people might get it, hints, but we'll see.
I mean, why wouldn't they? Cath Palug's fairly famous.
Oh, why don't you introduce us to Cath Palug?
Alright, so I did quite a bit of research on Cath Palug. I already knew of Cath Palug. I actually used the legend of Cath Palug in D&D. No! Don't give me a kitten right now! Swear to fucking God!
Rawr.
I love them, but I swear to fucking God, if they take a tear out of this fucking cloak, or anything I'm wearing right now, this outfit is totaled up to be worth far more than they are. Speaking of, it's our first Halloween episode! Woo!
Monster Month, or Monster and Scary Things Month.
Bubble, bubble, toyland trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Pretty sure I already used that for something. Oh, I used it for Abby.
You might have.
Yeah. Anyway, so there is a myth about the Cath Palug, or Cath Palug, or Balug, right? It's traditionally a Welsh piece of mythology, but it means the cat of Palug, right? As in Palug, the character in some Welsh tales, right? So it's been mentioned in two sets of Welsh sources. So it's been mentioned in the Welsh triads, specifically the Prydain triads from the 13th century. This text does reference Arthur and other mythic figures. And in this version, the Cath Palug starts life as a black kitten born to the great white sow Henwin, which you might know if you've seen the Chronicles of Prydain Disney movie, The Black Cauldron. I think there's a few other references to it. Henwin's also a character in Seven Deadly Sins, apparently. Seven Deadly Sins pulls very heavily from Welsh mythology, which I did not realize.
Yeah.
So born in Llanfair, that was then tossed into the sea by a shepherd, but it swam across the Menai Strait to be raised by the sons of Palug on Angsley, right? Which is where it gets the name, the Cath Palug, right? Cat of Palug, or Palug's cat. It's also mentioned in the Pagur Evain Portar, right? Which is a fragmentary poem, What Man is the Porter, from the Black Book of Carmarthen, written in the 12th century. In this poem, Sir Kay of the Knights of the Round Table is sent to destroy lions, right, which is most likely referencing the Cath Palug, in Angsley. And the cat there is known to have killed 90 men, or 180 men, before it was finally defeated by Sir Kay, because his shield was Mynard, which a lot of people think translates to mirrored, referencing the fact that when you present a cat with a mirrored image of itself, the cat will fight itself or fight its own shadows. Alright, so already from Welsh mythology we've got a cat-like creature, right, who is monstrous and associated in a lot of ways with water, right, and then with King Arthur. However, in Welsh mythology, Arthur himself never fights Cath Palug.
I believe there are some variations of the story that were meant to mock King Arthur, where King Arthur gets slaughtered by him.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So, other source materials not from Wales. Now, what you're referring to is the French tradition. So in the French tradition, there were several French poets and writers, right, in writing in these times.
Damn those French.
Who wrote Arthur to be killed by Cath Palug, right, thrown into a bog by Cath Palug, although they call it Chapalu in French, from cha meaning cat and palu meaning bog, so it's like bog cat. Once again, associating it with water, right? And several French sources do that. It's part of the French tradition of Arthur that he's killed by Palug. However, André de Coutances, right, in his Les Romans de Français, writes that the killing of Arthur by Chapalu is basically a piece of French bullshit. He calls him out and he's like, this is bullshit. Arthur would never have died to this cat. In the Manuel und Amand, which was 11th to 13th century Middle German, it's also implied that he's slain by a fish cat. And in the Vulgate Merlin, L'Histoire de Merlin, this is the story in which Cath Palug is associated with Lake Lausanne, right? So a fisherman pulls kittens out of the lake after after swearing to the rule of 3. So he says, I will dedicate whatever I catch to God, right? The first thing I catch. And then he doesn't. And on the third pull, his net pulls out a black kitten. He takes the kitten home. It grows to a gigantic size, murders him and his family and any travelers that come near Lake Lausanne. And Arthur is sent to kill it, where it's killed by Arthur. This was contested, so there was a proverb about it in the Galerin de Bretagne, which is contested as to different translations say that it's either Arthur killed the cat or the cat killed Arthur, which in my mind just means that, you know, it's a piece of French writing where the cat killed Arthur, but a lot of people are arguing that Arthur killed the cat because they didn't want to acknowledge that that was the French tradition.
It's the equivalent of flame fan fiction.
Pretty much, yeah. There's also a proverb present in the oldest Spanish chivalric novel, chivalric romance called The Book of the Knight Zafar, which says that the knight faces a peril tantamount to Arthur and Gato Paul, right? Referring to the fight of Arthur and the Cath Palug as something of great peril, right? To be compared to. And then Cath Palug is also mentioned in the Charlemagne cycle of stories. First in La Bataille l'Equifeur, in which Renoir in the Guillaume d'Orange cycle, Le Geste de Garin de Montglar, right? Chapalu there is the son of the hobgoblin Gringelot and the fae Brunheld. And he was very beautiful, but his mother couldn't stand to look at him because he was the product of rape. And so she turned him into a monstrous cat, and the only way for him to turn back into a human was to drink a few drops of Renoir's blood. Renoir is the knight in this story. And so Renoir was brought to Avalon, where Arthur commanded Chapalu to fight him because he was new, because Arthur is the king of Avalon in this set of stories. And he laps a few drops of blood from his heel and is restored to human form, right? And then he's also mentioned in a later story about Ogier de Danemark, or Ogier the Dane, who is part of the Charlemagne stories, which was most likely inspired by the Bataille l'Equifeur, because pretty much the same thing happens. It's a story of disenchantment, where defeat in single combat will free him from his monstrous shape, and when he turns back to human, his name is Benoit, which means blessed. So in traditional Welsh mythology, it's a monstrous cat that is killed by a knight of Arthur or someone else. And then in the more romantic chivalric texts, right? Because we have a change in Arthur mythology from simply the stating of history, right, to the chivalric romances of like the 13 through 1800s, which is where you get like La Mort d'Arthur and other Arthur stories, right, like actual stories. And in those, it's Arthur fighting this cat as a perilous thing, and the cat either turning into a beautiful man or being defeated by the great Arthur in the end. Or in the case of the French, fuck the English, Arthur dies.
King Arthur dies to a cat.
A monstrous cat. In fact, in one of the versions, I do believe it's in one of the French versions, or perhaps La Bataille l'Equifeur, the Charlemagne versions, it's described as the head of a cat, the body of a griffin, the talons of some other deadly creature, and so on, like a true monster.
Very confused biologically.
Yeah, kind of like a chimera, but, you know, a British version of a chimera set, you know, hundreds of years after the basic thing. So that's Cath Palug, right? The original Welsh myth that still exists, and then like the romanticized literary tales that have spun from Arthur and Cath Palug. You're just staring at me nodding your head. Why are you staring at me nodding your head?
Are you ready for fate?
I'm never ready for fate, but bring it on.
Meet your killer cat.
Is it?
That's Foo. The little mascot character.
Oh, from
Fate Grand Order.
From Grand Order.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he's with MASH, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw. It's cute. It kind of looks like a little white bunny, not gonna lie.
It's supposed to be kind of confused. Like, no one really knows whether it's a cat, a squirrel, a bunny, or a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But that's generally what it's called.
But it's so cute. Oh, it's all pastel-y. You get the poof of... Look at the poofy tail. The poofy tail is so cute. Oh.
See if I can... There might actually be multiple artwork here we can show you. Oh yeah, he does have a little April Fool's thing.
I love him so much. I love him so much. Oh my fucking god. That is the cutest thing.
Different artwork here.
Oh, look at his little cloak. I want to pet the belly. Do you also just want to, like, the belly? Scratch, pet
You've seen the first part of that one. You've seen Merlin.
Yeah.
This is actually his backstory here.
I was gonna say it's funny because Merlin basically just looks like a human version of Cath Palug.
Yeah, they share some design elements here.
Some.
A lot.
Fam, all of them. They share all of them.
Well, that's because Cath Palug in Fate Timelines is actually one of Merlin's familiars.
Okay. So that maybe leans into the L'Histoire de Merlin? The Vulgate Merlin?
Kind of, sort of. I think in Fate Timelines it's implied that none of the Round Table Knights actually ever met Cath Palug.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Fate Timelines, Cath Palug spends all of his time, is basically whisked away by Merlin into his tower in Avalon.
Yeah.
And kept there.
Okay. So cute.
Let me get into Cath Palug here.
He's so precious.
Cath Palug in Fate is what Fate would call a breed of calamity.
Like Velber.
Velber's actually more of an alien. This is more or less born from humans, actually.
Oh, okay. But Velber was a calamity, right?
In the definitive word of the definition of calamity, yes. Yes, Velber was a calamity.
That's the only calamity we've met so far, right?
Well, you haven't met a single calamity in this series yet, actually.
True, okay.
So, it was born to preside over the principle of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he observes others envying each other and just envying each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the more of that he sees, the more he will grow to become fearsome.
Okay. So the more people fear him...
Well, the more people are
strong.
The more people in the world that are, like, looking at each other and feeling envy for each other, the stronger he gets as a creature.
Okay, so his growth is directly related to, like, human terribleness.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is a good
Wow, he must be fucking super powered.
Yeah. So, he's born from the earth itself, to my understanding.
Okay. Like I said, there's only stories of his birth, like fully laid out in one of the triads, and then in the Ogier, the Dane story, like the Charlemagne cycles. And in the Charlemagne cycles, he's a product of two other creatures. But in the Welsh cycles, he's born of Henwyn, and Henwyn bears, I think, 8 other children throughout the triads, and honestly, most people who pair up with children of Henwyn don't really end up super great.
That said, he's actually, so, being a breed of calamity, he also qualifies to become what's called a beast of calamity, or one of the human evils.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to what the beasts are.
I was going to say, I also see Tsukihime.
Yes. Tying back into
it exists.
It exists. We will talk about it on the channel a little bit.
Finally. I swear to fucking God, I have been gaslighted repeatedly.
No, Tsukihime, the visual novel, absolutely exists in all the tie materials like Melty Blood.
And the anime.
What are you talking about?
Somebody recently brought this back up on the channel in a comment, and I am fuming.
Go on all major streaming platforms. Tsukihime has never received an anime adaptation. The Beasts of Humanity. So these are actually kind of a class of servant meant to be concepts of human nature given form.
Okay.
Specifically evil ones. In some ways, they're supposed to be reminiscent of the 7 deadly sins, but unlike those, Fate posits that these concepts they represent are inherent to human nature, and that over time humanity has grown and shrunk with them.
Okay.
But they will never be able to eliminate these concepts. A creature or even a person can become a beast when that individual is either forged by one of those evils or exhibits one of those evils in an extreme degree with the power to use them backed up.
So Cath Palug is envy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually when these beasts manifests, it's an or. So these beasts are actually all numbered 1 through 7, although I think some of them are in pairs.
Okay. What's Cath Palug?
Cath Palug is, I believe, beast 4. I won't go over every beast today because all of them can be their own videos or will be included somewhere eventually.
Okay.
But the ones that, up to Cath Palug, the different concepts that the beasts embody are pity, regression, lust, and comparison.
Okay.
The rest are... I think actually the rest might be yet to be known fully. The beasts, although their evils are not meant to destroy humanity, at least that's not their express goal, they actually want to nourish it in a way, and since these evils are human nature, they just want to grow that aspect of human nature.
Mm-hmm.
In Foo's case, Foo wants to grow comparison and become fearsome murder monster. Go back to Foo here. So Foo always goes one of 3 tracks depending on the timeline.
Okay.
The track 1 that you saw there was the FGO track. Here he's taken into custody by Merlin and allowed to live a cushy life in Merlin's tower in the Garden of Avalon.
Okay. Which actually falls a little bit in line with one of the Charlemagne cycle versions where he's on Avalon with Arthur and everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Charlemagne in Fate does connect a lot with the Arthur mythos, so... I think in real life it connects to the Arthur mythos as well, but it's not as...
Yeah, at times there's a lot of associations.
Yeah.
And often in the literary context, certain things that were attributed like in chivalric romances to Arthur and his knights will also be attributed to Charlemagne and his knights.
But yeah, there in that tower, Merlin then gives Cath Palug a selective view of humanity, so that he's only observing what Merlin wants him to. But it goes pretty well. It's what keeps him from becoming scary murder Earthcat.
Okay.
Eventually, though, he is kicked out, feeling an eternal grudge against Merlin.
Why?
Because Merlin evicted him.
Why did Merlin evict? That's mean. Why did Merlin evict him?
Because he wanted Foo to go out and see the world.
You should have done it in a nicer way then. That's mean.
Well, you'll be happy to know Foo regularly kicks Merlin when he sees him. In fact, that's, I think, his first interaction with him. The quote is, Foo Q Foo. Foo Q. From there, what he does is pretty much unknown, except for in FGO timelines where he makes his way to Caldea and at some point is found by MASH.
Yeah, because he's with MASH during...
Yeah, he follows at her heel pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
There he becomes a sassy bundle of fur, occasionally putting his Foo sense into the conversation, even if nobody can actually understand him, except for that gut feeling of, yeah, I feel it, man.
Like any cat.
Yeah, like you know what your cat's thinking.
Oh, very much. I know exactly what my cats are thinking at all times.
In this timeline, he uses his abilities to help Caldea at a few points, and eventually, albeit temporarily, he sacrifices his memories and gained higher intelligence to help them.
Okay.
Though he is shown, the sassy furball never stays down. He will... He keeps coming back.
Okay.
That said, by doing this all, he did give up his spot as Beast 4. Which will become more important later on.
Okay, so that's why I saw 4L, like, because 4R, like left, right, you said in pairs.
It's 3 that's L and R. 4 is this, and then there's another one. I forget what.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
In the Wikia page, it was labeled as LR.
Yeah, normally
like 3.
Normally 4 doesn't have a second version, but because Foo gave up his spot, another beast took his place.
Okay. Don't suppose you're going to tell me who.
No, but you'll find out relatively soon, actually.
Okay.
Not this month, not next month, but you'll find out soon.
Okay.
In this form, he's capable of minor teleportations and even abilities surpassing magic. One of those is a complete resurrection of another person if he chooses, though that is extremely costly.
Okay.
Another timeline is if Merlin doesn't take him in, he would eventually become the monster Cath Palug and be taken down by some member of the Round Table as he starts to gain large amounts of power.
The K story.
Though we don't exactly know how he fights, because we've never seen him in full Cath Palug glory.
I'd love to see him in full Cath Palug glory. Would be look so fucking cute. Giant fucking murder kitty.
Now, before we move on to this one,
okay,
we're gonna scroll down here because there's some more fun photos.
They're not card arts?
We do have some card arts we'll go over later. Because Foo does have a Fate Grand Order wiki page.
Which are precious.
There's a Foo cake.
Yeah, so cute.
Boom.
They're just patting at fucking Ishtar or Reshkigal.
There's a little more ethereal look at Foo. That's Foo using some powers of his.
Ooh, cute.
And yeah, that is Foo as we know him.
He's so precious!
Okay, so the other type of timeline is the Tsukihime timeline.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to use this as an excuse to explain Fate versus Tsukihime, because we kind of have to get into this.
Okay.
Welcome to Dead Apostles.
What does that have to do
We'll
with
get there.
anything?
So, much of Fate actually doesn't carry over to Tsukihime and vice versa. In Fate timelines, mankind has enough value in their history that one of the two forces of Earth called Alaya is much stronger.
Okay.
This allows the existence of servants as history is strong enough for them to be summoned. In Worlds of Tsukihime, this is not the case. Instead, the other force of Earth, Gaia, is stronger. Not to be confused with the Titan, right?
The force at the beginning of the world.
Yeah.
Gaia's not a Titan, but she's the mother of Titans.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the Greek Gaia.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Gaia Online, of course.
That too. But Gaia is sort of so Gaia and Alaya are sort of the Earth's response to the fact that humans are kind of destructive to the Earth, but are also very important.
Yeah.
So Alaya defends human interests, Gaia defends the Earth's interests.
Okay.
Gaia, to sort of combat humans, decided, you know what? I'm just going to make a natural predator to humans. And that would be true ancestors or Fate's vampires.
Have we talked on the channel about how fucking terrifying I find the concept of things meant to hunt humans? Like, I know I've had this discussion with you before, right? In regards to, like, supernatural and things like Wendigos, right? And this is the thing, is there are very few things that scare me on an actual, like, terror level, right? Like, sure, I don't like mummies. Sure, I don't like zombies. Sure, I have an irrational fear of spiders. But there are very few things that, like, genuinely squick me the fuck out. Just, like, nope the fuck out. And one of them is the concept of things that go bump in the night that are engineered to hunt humans and are therefore are superior in basically every way because you have to be to hunt humans. Like, you're better endurance hunters, you're better at stealth, you're better at, like, brute force. And I think the most terrifying thing about that is definitely the endurance, right? Because the only reason that humans have it up on the rest of life on Earth, right, is the fact that we are endurance hunters. We sweat, and because we sweat, we can just keep going. And I can imagine how terrifying it is for, like, some sort of animal, right, running from a human, only to realize that they've had to take a break, right? And in that time that they've taken a break, a human has been relentlessly coming after them, decreasing the distance that they put between them, all in order to hunt them down, like, in cold blood, right? Or for food or something. And the only way to beat a human would be to be a better fucking endurance hunter, or faster or stronger, and that is fucking terrifying. I don't like that.
So, fun fact here, following from that, while they are meant to, if needed, cull the human population or stop them from doing something that damages the Earth, they're pretty well civilized, at least. It's not like there's always wild lions out hunting you. They have their own hierarchy and structures that prevent them from being just like monster that will kill you.
That's arguably worse. Because then it's sensate, right? Like, it's not just a matter of food chain. then you know that you're being targeted and hunted by a creature that is smarter and faster than you. Like, it's deliberate. It would be better if it was fucking insensate just for food.
So, normally here, they would be kept pretty much... They're supposed to keep to themselves except for when needed. But Gaia kind of did an oopsie. And by making vampires, they kind of get hungry and go crazy after a while from being hungry.
Did an oopsie. Did a fucking oopsie. Okay, that's what we're gonna call it. That's what we get to call creating, like, this shit. All right.
Now, up to now, this actually happens in Fate timelines as well. But this is kind of where things split off. If they drink, I believe it's either if they drink blood, they kill the other person. But if the other person drinks their blood... No, sorry. If they drink someone else's blood, that person becomes what's known as a dead apostle.
Okay.
In Fate timelines, from there, because Alaya is so strong and can summon servants, well, if Gaia's going to make these big things that kill us and they're losing control, we're just going to throw servants at them.
Okay.
So servants would be... basically, servants keep them from ever becoming too strong or becoming too much of a big deal.
Okay.
But in Tsukihime timelines, eventually the true ancestors have to be put down because they're going crazy. They either get put down, they go into stasis, hunt each other to death, the ones that go crazy.
Okay.
But the dead apostles, and sorry Fate fans or Type Moon fans if I'm getting a lot of this wrong, I am far less familiar with Tsukihime than Fate. The dead apostles that were created by them form an organization called the 27 Dead Apostle Ancestors, which a good amount of them are vampires because of the true
I was going to say,
there.
I have now had enough time to read everything you have put on screen in front of me.
Yeah.
And hey, do you remember that, you remember how Notre Dame burned, right? Did you hear about the coffin?
Was there a coffin that was filled and then empty when it was burned down?
No, so they unearthed, I think, I haven't looked into it further than seeing some of the headlines about it, but underneath the floor, they found a lead coffin that was like 400 years old.
It was empty?
I don't know, I didn't see if they opened it or not, but like a lead fucking coffin, 400 years old. Like, don't open it.
Don't open it.
No, that's not where we're gonna go. In the year of our Lord, 2022. No, don't go there. Just fucking don't. That's like in The Mummy when they open the fucking sarcophagus after reading the sarcophagus of someone who has suffered this most terrible punishment in ancient. Don't fucking open it. Don't fucking open it. There's a reason that it's sealed. Leave it alone.
So... we're going to go ahead and leave the organization here for the most part, because at this point, what becomes more important is that in this timeline, Merlin did not take Foo in, and Foo became a beast or became Primate Murder and never quite died, but beasts aren't really a thing in the Tsukihime timeline as far as we know at this moment. Mm-hmm. So he just became a very scary killer earth cat monster that eats humans.
Cool. So a cat. He became a cat.
That cat catted and becomes a being that's known as Primate Murder.
Cute.
And lives into the modern day, where he was actually taken in by one of the dead apostle ancestors known as Altroge Brunstead.
Aww.
And even though he's not a vampire, he was considered one of the 27 dead apostle ancestors in the original Tsukihime timeline.
Aww.
That changes with the remake stuff, but we're not going to get into that.
That's adorable.
So yeah, we don't know much about him though, because even though he's mentioned in Tsukihime stuff, when talking about this 27 Dead Apostle Ancestors, we don't actually ever see him in the old Tsukihime timeline stuff.
Oh.
So that's about as far as where we go here.
Good for him though, getting himself adopted. Also, I realize that Primate Murder refers to the fact that humans are primates, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly.
Okay, so... and then we have like the little Foo Grand Order page here.
Foo!
Some of the images.
I love Foo so much. Foo's so cute.
Foo Pikachuing on Mash's shoulder.
Oh, I want my own little Pikachu. I had a Pikachu earlier.
Foo is, if you've played a little Grand Order, you've seen these cards.
I played a little Grand Order, yeah.
Yeah, no. Foo just has an entire set of cards that are just Foo doing poses in front of artwork.
Yeah. It's adorable. 10 out of 10. Foo!
He's got another little thing called a command code. And these are his craft essences.
Okay, so we're not going to be able to go through all of these.
Let's see if... Tell me if there's one you want to take a look at, though.
Okay, well, I can see a lot of them at this size, right? Because I'm looking at a larger computer screen than people watching. So Peacefulness of 2016 is adorable, right? I like it because that's obvious. That's at Caldea's, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Foo and that's Dr. Roman.
Yeah, and he's like chilling on the couch or the bed or something. Oh, look at the stuffed lion.
That's actually a stuffed Foo, I think.
Oh my fucking god, that's adorable. Let's see.
There's Foo and Roman again.
Yeah. Aww. And this Foo Pikachuing on dumplings over flowers.
Ignore that.
What? Oh.
That was a craft essence.
Okay. Oh, look at the little Foo in the corners on the Learning with Manga one. That's adorable. Foo-kun puppet? I hate that. It's so cute, but I hate it. So, Stranger Almond, I assume that there are Foo-shaped candies on top of it or something? Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. So there are a lot of Foo shit. There's a lot of Foo shit.
Yeah. I wonder if... the Great Detective Fulms.
Oh my fucking god, I love it. But look above it. Craft Essence XP card Boar King. Oh my god, I love it. I love... Also, Quiet and Reserved Pig is very funny. Oh, there's a spider in the upper corner of that. Is that supposed to be like a Charlotte's Web reference?
So...
Because there's the pig and there's the spider, Charlotte's Web.
Probably. That's Gudako.
Oh.
You remember from the Learning with Manga.
Yeah. Oh! Foo was in that traveling circus card art. I didn't even notice. We've seen that like 6 times now. Detective Fooms.
I love this one.
That's adorable. I love it so much. So, like, there are a lot of these, which means that they all have, like, their own flavor text.
Yeah.
But we can't go through all of them. That's just too many. Especially because it looks like most of these also involve a lot of other servants and stuff. But are there any that are specifically, like, maybe some of those first few are for Foo?
So, Foo's never had a dedicated craft essence because he's not a playable servant.
Maybe open...
I opened...
Okay.
That one. I opened Foams.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just take a look at a couple.
Let's see. Any others here that are good and not spoilery for FGO? Or for servants we haven't done yet?
Caldea Tea Time, if that's MASH. Because I've seen MASH.
Yep.
You know? Like, if it's with MASH, I've seen MASH.
Our round table.
Aww. Is that MASH and Gudako again at Brave One?
Which one?
Down. And over. And over.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Also, I see that Aussie. Don't think I don't see that Aussie on Escape from the Pyramid.
I'll click into that one because there is actually a backstory to that one.
Don't think I don't see that Aussie. I see him.
And it's going to make you mad that you don't live in
Also,
Japan.
the absolute demonic Battlefront Babylonia I get because I've seen some of Babylonia.
Yeah, that one's just a little commemorative one though, so.
Yeah. Oh. So cute. So much MASH.
Okay.
So much food.
I think we can go ahead and look at the ones I've clicked into here. So Detective Fulms.
Obviously. It's
a piercing intellect.
Can seem to see through everything. They state all the evidence has been collected. They demand confess your crimes. They reveal this is no longer a game of deduction as the answer is already clear. Foo, for Foo, Foo. Yet how sad, its brilliant deductions are rarely communicated to others. Aww, you know what it reminds me of? Detective Pikachu a little bit. Like Detective Pikachu and Sherlock Holmes together. That's fucking adorable. Also, there's a new cute character in a fucking chibi on the upper left of the screen, and I don't know who that is.
You do not know who that is yet.
But that's a very large ice cream sundae, and I appreciate it.
Alright, so this one.
Aww. Even as the Grand Order continues, one must take a break during New Year. While the good doctor is worrying about humanity's survival, he's encountered one of mankind's greatest creations. Oh, the sinful one. Its name is Kotatsu! Oh, that explains so much. Oh, that explains so much. It's just Caldea tea time.
Yeah.
It's just cute. It's about tea.
Yeah, just a New Year's tea
Yeah.
Foo and mesh.
Yeah, that's adorable.
So this one,
love it.
I don't know what the flavor text here is.
Wait, so hold on. So that is Aussie, and I do see Nitocris, because you know I know Nitocris.
Yes.
But why? Oh my god, they look like archaeologists. I love
Then
it.
you got
Why are
the
they
female
all...
protagonist, the male protagonist, Mash and Foo.
Yeah, I love it. It's very... You know what this could be? I feel like this could be, like, legitimately, like, the movie poster for...
It's not a movie poster. But in Japan, and only in Japan, there were a couple Fate Grand Order themed escape rooms. One of them was hugely Ozymandias and archaeology themed, and the setup here is written in this text.
This is the sacred coffin in which the royalty sleeps. Ozymandias suddenly disappeared from Caldea. Meanwhile, what appeared at the same time was another mysterious singularity. There's not much time until the world collapses. Cooperate with the servants and resolve the mystery of the pyramid and the pharaoh.
And this was a commemorative craft essence for it that was probably a poster. Or artwork done for it.
I wish I lived in Japan. I want that. I might have to like get a printout of this shit.
Get a printout, hang it somewhere.
I would. You think I wouldn't? I would.
'Cause that is a really good craft
It
essence.
is a really good card. I really like it. I really, really fucking like it.
So yeah, that's Foo. Or
Foo is-
Cath Palug.
Foo is fucking adorable. It's goddamn so cute.
Oh yeah. Man, so yeah, there's no NPs to show this time, so and anything I could show you would be humongously spoilerish.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him a few times in Babylonia.
Yeah.
Obviously, like attacking, so, like, I have already seen attack animations for Foo.
Yeah.
God, I love Babylonia so much. This is adorable. I love Foo. 10 out of 10.
How the hell do I do a hint for the next one?
I mean... I wish I'd changed costumes, because actually I just realized that my costume for next servant is actually fitting the servant itself.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I can give a more obvious hint, or I can give a less obvious hint?
We need to be a little less obvious with our hints, fam. People keep getting it so easily. This is meant to be a challenge.
The next servant has no alts.
Oh, so it's just the
It's
one.
just the one servant we're doing.
Okay.
There you go.
And I mean,
that's
keep in
a
mind,
very vague hint.
Keep in mind, it's Halloween month. So
Yeah.
all of our servants will be, haunted,
Monster,
creepy, spooky,
scary
monster,
themed, demon
Halloween.
themed.
Yeah. So with that being said, we'll see you back next time. Have a happy Halloween.
See you when we do whatever the fuck we're doing.
F9.